Well, this is the whole point of the video. It doesn't need to be perfect. Let's just start. We're making a video now. And we're slightly unprepared. It's fine. The whole point of this video is to get you to do something now. There are things on your to-do list right now that have been sitting there for a while, and every time you look at that task, you get this feeling in your stomach, which is a mixture between stress that comes from not having done something that you want to do, knowing that it's on that list for a reason. It's not there for no reason at all, but there's something that's holding you back from doing it, and that feeling of not liking yourself because this is something that you can't seem to overcome. Now, it may not even be a big task. It might be the tiniest little task that wouldn't even take that long if you got down to it, but something is stopping you from doing it. And by the way, the small tasks, they're often the ones that get you the most. They're the biggest demoralizers, because the fact that you can't get yourself to do that becomes this splinter in your mind, this thing that stops you from doing a whole raft of other things. Because make no mistake, seeing something on your to-do list again and again and again, never leaving that to-do list, affects your confidence over time. It erodes that feeling of faith that you have in yourself that you can actually get things done. Here's my challenge to you. Do it. Do it today. While you're watching this video, I'm not going to make this a long video. I'm going to keep this short because I want you to get on with it. What do you need for the task? Do you need a pen? Go find a pen. Go do it while I'm talking right now. You need a piece of paper? Go find some paper. Don't look for the perfect piece of paper. Just get a piece of paper. The back of an envelope will do. Start writing. You could write the beginning of a novel on the back of an envelope. When you need more paper, you know you're doing something right because at least you've started. Get moving on it. Who do you need to call? Do you need your phone? Pick up your phone. Dial the number. Who is it you need to speak to? What conversation have you been putting off? Which place have you been putting off going? Where do you need to go? Get in the car and start moving. This doesn't have to be something that takes 10 hours right now, that takes your whole day. Make it something that takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Don't put it off a second longer. I know the reasons you put it off. You put it off because it feels uncomfortable. You put it off because it's been so long you don't even know how to do that task anymore. You put it off just because you've got a mental block because you've been putting it off so long that now it has almost this mystical sense of difficulty, even though it's actually quite easy once you get down to it, but you've left it so long it's been built up in your head. Maybe it's just a annoying job to do. I don't care. Whatever it is, you're going to do it right now. The purpose of this video is to reduce your stress, because once you knock something off your list like that, it becomes this signifier for everything else on your list. When you can do that one thing that you've been putting off, everything else seems easier. And you will like yourself more. You will have more confidence because you'll show that you can get something done, that you do have the ability to muscle a task and get through it, and you'll like yourself more at the end of this day. This day will have had some meaning. You will feel good. I will take part of the credit for setting you on this path. You can take the rest for doing it. How's that as a deal? Let's just do it. Go now. Switch off the video. I'm ending now, so there's nothing else to watch. This is just fluff now. I'm just talking. I'm not going anywhere with this point now. Just do it. Switch off the video. If you're still watching this now, you're already on the wrong track. I'm going to stop right now. Jameson, you ready? And end. Hi, I'm Matthew Hussey. If you watch the video and do something productive, come back and leave a comment. After you've done the task, now go! Do you want to know something funny? Is normally when we shoot a video like this, we wouldn't have the mic so close to me. The air conditioner, which is kind of whirring in the background, would be turned off. The light above my head, which is giving us really bad lighting right now, would have been fixed. But I said to Jameson, let's just start. Stop being such a perfectionist. Let's just, for one day, just get this shit done. Stop worrying about it. Let's get it done. I'm only asking you to do the same. Anastasia, I want you back. It's too much effort to explain all my weirdness to a new woman. Have dinner with me.
It's been literally 3 days since you made me cry with spankings. Okay, fine, I will have dinner with you. Because I'm horny. Hungry. Haha, this is fun because there's no abuse.
Smiling is new for me.
Are you happy? Because he has no personality.
I've never been happier. Because I'm 21 years old and he's the only person I've ever dated. And he has a boat. This time, no punishments, no commands, and no more secrets.
Secretly take off your pennies under the table.
You've been listening, right?
Whoops.
Left my shoes untied. It's a bit the spider went up the lady's leg.
He wasn't listening.
Here's some random shit to distract you from how boring I am.
We have such a deep connection. Muscles.
Clothes in the shower. Definitely not boring.
Do you think adding crazy exes will make this film interesting?
All the men in this story have a reputation of flirting by being rapey.
I feel like you're surrounded by a lot of unnecessary drama.
Right? And you know me, I hate drama.
Son of a bitch.
If anything were to happen to you, I'd have to find somebody else just as easy to manipulate.
Tell me what he has that we like. Besides money. Muscles?
Ooh, I smell drama.
You should all stay home.
This is just an interview about his blog. I have a couple dating questions.
So, what was his advice like?
Mr. Hussey will see you now.
It was smart, deep, really practical. To what do you owe your success?
I've always been good at people. I have a natural instinct for what makes a person get the guy.
Matthew?
Miss Jameson.
You do realize he hasn't stopped looking at you. Which is super awkward because it's a video blog. He's supposed to just look at the camera.
I like to see your face. It gives me some clue as to what you might be drinking.
So you're a caffeine freak.
I exercise caffeine in all things.
You must really have to pee.
So hot.
You're not playing fair.
You should stay clear of me. I'm not the man for you.
Why won't you let me in?
I had an English start in life. My tastes are very singular. An American wouldn't understand.
Enlighten me then. Why are you trying to change me?
I'm not. It's you that's changing the tea.
I don't know if I can steep for him the way he needs me to.
Wait a minute. I said wait a minute! That's too far! Even for someone who likes tea, this is ridiculous. It's not even informed consent, for God's sakes.
Say I made it with less milk. What would happen?
Okay, so I'm calling because I'm having some issues with love, obviously. Basically, I've dated a guy who pretty much wrecked me, and ever since then, I've been completely lost. I know you're supposed to love yourself before you can ever love anyone else. So I guess my question is, how do you find yourself after heartbreak?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that question. I think for most of us, what we do is we jump from one relationship to the next, never really giving ourselves an opportunity to actually, I guess, I'm not a big lover of the term find yourself because I believe more in creating yourself than finding yourself. But I do believe time with yourself is very, very important. The ability to have some solitude where you actually discover what you like and books you want to read, places you want to go, things you want to learn about. I think one of the mistakes we make when we come out of a relationship is thinking, I'm just going to spend as much time with family and friends as possible. I do believe in that. I think there's a certain amount of distraction that can come from that. And I also think that surrounding yourself with people you love and who love you, it can only be a positive thing. But that can get to a stage where all it is numbing. In other words, you're just distracting yourself rather than actually saying, am I actually spending time with myself? Am I taking on new, if I want to become a better cook, am I learning that right now? If there's a new sport that I want to take on, am I growing myself right now? I really think that after a breakup, it's a terrific time to actually get to know yourself a bit better and to expand your knowledge and figure out more about what you love in life. But the key is to make sure that it's a process of trial and error. You're not going to get that all right at once, but I would now, because you're single now, right? When was the breakup?
It was a few months ago.
So I would now say, right, I'm really going to give myself space and time to be with myself. I'm going to go on dates with myself. I really love the concept of going on dates with yourself, going to the movies, by yourself, or, going out to eat, just doing things that allow you to spend time with you. And that's not always comfortable. But solitude is really, really important. I think it's one of the things that really fundamentally grows us and makes us realize that we can be good company for ourselves and we really can be independent. And then once you've got that right, which is going to be this fun challenge for you right now, then when you get to the next relationship or you find a guy, that you're going to be selecting him for the right reasons because you really like him, not because you just need a companion. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so.
So I think this is just going to be a time of trial and error for you. I think you should try and, give yourself the mission of finding new things that you enjoy doing. Or if there are hobbies that you used to do or things you used to love doing that you stopped doing, this I think would be a really wonderful time to revisit them. You have the gift of time right now. I think in some ways it would be a shame if you suddenly found another relationship tomorrow, because I think there's a real interesting growth curve that you get to go through right now before the next relationship.
Right.
None of which makes it easy, by the way.
No, it's never easy. It's going to be very uncomfortable. And I've had lots of people give me, the same advice. But, I've reached a pretty bad spot. So I think it's time to kind of do it.
What's the hardest part?
Being alone.
Right. But if that's something that's really uncomfortable, then you're working on something you need to work on. I think once that becomes comfortable, then you'll know you've made real progress and you've grown. And I think if it's uncomfortable right now, that's a good sign, because it's a sign that there's still more work for you to do there. And that's great. We've all been there. And the shame is for people who never get the chance to actually experience being on their own and the challenges that brings and the ways that forces them to grow. I think you're going through a growth curve. You're going to have your own growth spurt right now. And I think that actually is really, really exciting, even if it isn't all easy. So keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that you're not just distracting yourself in this time, but you're also making progress in certain areas, because when you make progress on your hobbies, your passions, your knowledge, learning about yourself, progress will make you happy and it will make you excited about life again. And that's a really great place to be. We need to get you excited about life again.
Yes.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for calling in. I know it's not easy, but the journey you're on right now is going to be so worth it later on. So just know that now. It's not easy now, but it will be worth it later on. And when you are with that special person in the future, you're going to be really glad that you had time to really get strong on your own before you met him. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm there with you as your teammate, as always. And I'll speak to you soon, okay? Let us know how you get on.
Thank you so much, Matthew.
If you consider yourself to be an introvert, I'm about to give you 3 words that are going to change the way you think about attraction forever. Peak end rule. The peak end rule. The psychological heuristic in which people judge an experience largely based on how they felt at its peak and at its end, rather than based on the total sum or average. To understand this rule, you need only think of a Broadway show, a movie, or a concert, and how there are moments in these shows that can actually be quite boring. There are moments in a concert where there are 5 songs in a row that you don't care about. But if the concert, if the movie, if that Broadway show ends with a bang, or has a really emotional peak moment somewhere within it, that tends to be the part that we remember. It colors our entire experience of the thing. If you are an introvert, the psychology of this is gold to you. Why? You might be the kind of person that 90% of the time in a group gathering isn't doing the talking. You're much more of a listener, an observer. You are the quiet one. But that doesn't mean that you need to be the least memorable one. Using the peak end rule, you can insert yourself at just the right moment and say just the right thing that actually gives you more impact than everybody else. And there are 3 practical ways that you can do this. First, compliments. So let's say you're in a group dynamic, the guy you like has been talking a lot, you haven't been talking at all. You wait till it dies down until you have maybe a moment on your own with him, and then you can say, I like the way you tell stories. Like you have this passion in you when you tell a story. It's cool. In that moment, you're A, reminding him that you were there, even though you were quiet, you were listening, you were paying attention. And secondly, that just because you're quiet, it doesn't mean you're not confident, and it doesn't mean you can't be direct. You can also make use of the peak end rule by issuing a challenge to someone. Let's say you're in a group of friends, you're in an environment where there's something mildly competitive going on. Maybe you're playing darts, pool, bowling, table tennis, whatever, it doesn't matter. But your crush is in the group. And normally your conversation with this person is kind of pedestrian, a bit vanilla, a bit monotonous. You could charge it by saying to him, I'm really sorry for what I'm about to do to you. And he'd be like, what? You'd be like, I'm going to crush you at table tennis. And I feel bad. It doesn't matter if everyone else in the group won't stop talking. The fact that you've charged the interaction with a challenge, that's going to be more memorable. And the third technique for applying the peak end rule is the spontaneous test. So let's say you're in this group of people and the subject of desserts or sweets comes up. You could say to a person that you haven't spoken to all evening, so what about you, Matthew? Are you more of a milk chocolate man or a dark chocolate man? Now, if they say milk chocolate, you can say, wow, I got a lot of respect for that. If they say dark chocolate, and that's not really your thing, you could say, okay, well, we need to work on that. If they say they don't like chocolate, you can say, who hurt you? Okay, you know what? Doesn't matter. We can talk about this later. You can literally say this about anything. In fact, the more goofy the example, the better. It's the playfulness in this that creates the spike. And by the way, when you've been quiet, but all of a sudden you use someone's name, you address them specifically. So what about you, Matthew? It's like, it gives someone a tingle. It's like, oh, they've been paying attention to me, right? Without me even knowing it. Suddenly you're on someone's radar in a different way. Never, ever, ever use being quiet or being introverted or even being shy as an excuse not to go out there and flirt and create attraction. Because you can do all of these things in a way that fits with your nature and your personality. Now, if you like this video because it gave you very practical things you can do to flirt, I have something even better for you right now. I've taken a chapter from my renowned program, How to Talk to Men, that is all about flirting. And I am gifting it to you today. Literally exact things that you can say and do today with the person you're attracted to create more attraction and more chemistry. To get that chapter, all you need to do is go to getthefreechapter.com, download it, and you can be reading it in the next 5 minutes. Go to getthefreechapter.com, and I will see you there. All right, we get it?
We got it.
What's wrong?
Like, the whole video is about the peak end rule, and ended it kind of flat.
Okay, so, any ideas? Yes. Hi guys, Matthew here. So this video that I just showed you, which I guess is above this one, it kills me. I don't know if you've seen this film, 500 Days of Summer. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's very fun. It's a very cool film. But this particular scene in the film, I wanted to show you because I think there's such an important lesson in it to be learned, but we have to learn the right lesson from it. Now, if you watch that, I'm sure you felt in your life a moment that reflected that, where your expectations didn't meet your reality. And the truth is, we all have moments in that, like that in life, where the expectation we have just doesn't fit with what actually happens. And sometimes what actually happens is the biggest disappointment, the biggest heartbreak, and it kills us. Like, in the moment, it sucks. And here's the thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you that it doesn't suck. You know, when you have one of those moments, you see in that video, he shows up to the party, he thinks it's going to be an amazing night with her, and it turns out she's now engaged to someone else. Now, don't let anyone tell you when you leave that moment and you have that pain that it doesn't hurt, because it does. People will give you cliches like, you know, there's plenty more fish in the sea, or you'll be fine, it's, you know, it'll heal with time. And they'll tell you all different things that are designed to make you feel better. But ultimately, your brain is smart and knows that we feel pain right now. Now, the pain is there for a reason. But here's what we have to realize. The pain in itself is not an evil. Feeling pain when things don't go your way in your love life, when that guy doesn't text you back, when he doesn't call, when he cheats, when he leaves, when he breaks your heart, that pain is okay to feel. That means you're human. And if you don't feel any pain, that's a bad sign, by the way. Because I know some women who say, I can't get hurt by a guy. And when they say that, I know this is kind of, you know, they need to be careful, because when you're not feeling any pain, it means you've numbed yourself. And people who numb themselves, they're dead inside. They may not feel any pain, but they don't get the pleasure either. So if you feel pain in your love life and you've had some heartache and there's some guy who's hurt you, don't worry, the pain is okay. Here's what the pain means. It means you're still romantic, you're still an optimist, you still have that faith that your love life can deliver something extraordinary. So that's a great sign. That means you're one of the better people. That means you're not one of those negative people who has already said, it's never going to happen for me. I don't believe in love anymore. I don't believe it can happen. Those people are the worst kind. The fact that you get hurt means you're still an optimist, and I love that. But here's the thing. The pain is a symptom of something, right? Now, that something is whatever we decided this situation means. Now, let's take the situation in the video. Situation in the video is he goes to the party and he thinks this is going to be an amazing night. They're going to connect and they're going to get back together, and he gets excited about that. And it doesn't happen. She's now with someone else. The pain can come from one of two places. If it comes from him believing that she was his soulmate and he has now lost her, what's that pain going to be? What's the intensity going to be? It's going to be huge, right? He's going to now have that pain for a long, long time, maybe forever, because he's always going to think he lost his soulmate. And the result of that is crazy. It's terrible. It's going to mean he's going to not allow anyone else into his life because he thinks she was supposed to occupy that space. It's going to mean he's continuously hurt. He loses his ambition and his drive, because when you feel like you've lost your soulmate, what else matters in life? He's essentially going to be someone who now, in his love life, he's not going to see success. Let's take another type of person. Let's say that same person in that moment said, this isn't me losing my soulmate, it's just me disappointed because this person didn't turn out to be my soulmate. Now, this is a much smarter type of pain to have, because in this moment, what that means is, although I'm hurt, she wasn't right for me and I can now move on to someone who might be. The pain comes from disappointment. I'm disappointed that this wasn't what I thought it was. But it doesn't come from fundamentally believing you've lost someone who was supposed to be in your life. I hope you can see the difference in those two things, because that difference is the biggest difference. It might seem like a small distinction in the moment, but over time, that difference in meaning will go on to shape our entire love lives. And people wonder, like when people come to my seminars, there'll be someone who puts up their hand and describes a situation to me that they're struggling with. And I'll figure out, based on what they say, I'll figure out what the trajectory of the next 10 years of their love life will be. And I can usually tell them what the last 10 years of their love life has been like, because I know how that decision has shaped everything that's happened to them. And people think that somehow I'm reading their mind, but it's not. For me, it's just, if I know the decision or the meaning they've given that pain, I now know exactly where they're going to end up in the next 5 or 10 years. And it's that distinction that allows me to coach people very quickly to a better meaning, whereby their love life starts to go on this amazing trajectory. People wonder how someone can come to my program and after 5 years of getting no dates, no guys, almost being invisible to guys, how suddenly they can go from that to getting 5 dates in a week, getting a boyfriend in a month, getting married in 6 or 12. But sometimes the fundamental difference is not what we change externally, it's what we change in here, it's what we change internally. So I know that the last video I talked about making the best of what you have, playing your hand, and that's one of the keys that we need in our love lives. We need to be able to play the hand that we're dealt. But the other key that we need is to be able to actually change the meanings we've given things over time so that it changes our whole outlook and our attitude to our love life. So that video, although it's very sad, there's a very, very crucial message there. And I know that it will speak to you. If you've ever been in pain in your love life or you're in pain now, I know that this is going to speak to you. And if you have a friend who this means something to, and you know she has taken the wrong meaning from this, right? She needs to change the meaning so that the pain isn't so intense and she can move on. Please send this video to her. Tweet it, Facebook it, whatever you need to do. Send that video to the people that you love and care about so that they can reduce that pain that they're feeling. Don't make them feel bad for feeling the pain. Just show them there's a better quality type of pain to experience so that they don't have to endure it over the long term. Now, next week, I'm going to be making a big announcement. If you're enjoying these videos and you're enjoying following me and you're enjoying this content, you want more, please, please, please tune in next week, because I have an announcement that really is going to take things to the next level. I can't give everything I want to give in these videos because they're broad brush stroke. I get to do it on a level where I go through a few concepts, but I can't get to the practicality of it because there's just too much. I do this in 50 hours, over a period of time, or 20 hours over a weekend. This, 50 hours is when I go away to Florida and I do my big retreats, but we do this over a long period of time. Now, what I want to do is get this stuff to you in a way that you can really digest, and I'm going to do that next week. So I hope you enjoyed this blog. I'm going to keep doing this for you, regardless of what journey you take with me. I'm going to keep putting stuff out there for you to help you in your love life. And don't forget, leave a comment. I cannot believe, by the way, how many comments we're getting on this blog. I tell you the truth, I didn't even know our blog was as big as it is. But when we're getting like 200 comments underneath a video, it blows my mind. So thank you so much for the level of interaction that you're creating. And I know that that support is helping so many women in this community right now. So thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. And I can't wait to be back with you next week when I have that news. Take care. I will speak to you very soon. You're not supposed to be for everyone. If you're for most people, you're doing something wrong. You're chameleonizing yourself, people-pleasing, being an inauthentic version of you. How do we continue with the search for love when it feels like it's so fruitless for us? When we feel invisible, when we feel like we keep going on dates that don't go anywhere, maybe even dates with initial promise where it felt like someone liked us, but then they never spoke to us again afterwards. It never materialized into another date. Rejection hurts. And when we get too many rejections, it starts to make us want to quit altogether because we feel hopeless. We think, what's the point? And each new rejection just reiterates and reinforces this belief that we're not good enough, that we're not desirable, that we're not worthy. And when we feel that way, we will insert whatever is our biggest insecurity into that. It's because of my age. It's because I'm not attractive enough. It's because I'm not smart enough. It's because I'm not successful enough. It's because of my body. We all have our insecurity that rejection attaches itself onto. But the painful part is the rejection. We would be unlikely to be insecure about that thing in the first place if we didn't have rejection to attach it to. So I wanted to talk today about how you could overcome that fear of rejection and continue putting yourself out there to find love, because the greatest tragedy is when we quit. When we throw in the towel and we say, I just can't do this anymore, then we deprive ourselves of the beautiful relationship that we could have. We also, by the way, deprive someone else out there who's right for us of the beautiful relationship that they could have with us if we had just kept going. Now, before I go any further, I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that the next time I release a video, you get notified first. Now, while we're on that subject, let's talk about a comparison that's really relevant to you in your love life. Every time I make a video, there are people who will see the thumbnail for that video in their recommended feed, and they won't click on it. Maybe they don't like the title. Maybe they see my face and don't like my face. Maybe they just think this guy's not for me. Maybe they think that any form of dating advice or help with their confidence isn't for them, but they don't click. There are other people who click on it and within the first 10 seconds go, nah, or they get distracted by something else and they never come back. Some people watch to the end of the video and say, I didn't like it. There are other people who get to the end of the video and think, that was cool. I'm not going to watch any more, but that was pretty good. And then there are all sorts of other people that continue the journey with me. Some of them hit like on the video. Some of them subscribe to the videos. Some people become part of my Love Life Club to be coached by me on a more intimate level. Other people decide, you know what, Matt, I'd really love to come and spend 6 days with you in Florida on your retreat. Those are the people that really value me and what I have to say. Most people don't get that far, and that's okay. When I make a video, I'm not trying to make it for everybody. I hope that whoever engages with it and watches it gets something out of it. I hope I leave people better than I found them. But I also know I'm not going to be for a lot of people, maybe even for most people. But that doesn't matter. The goal isn't to attract most people. The goal isn't to attract everybody. The goal is to attract the right person. Our love life is no different. I want you to get out of the mindset of wanting people to be attracted to you and get into the mindset of wanting to find the person who is right for you. And by definition, because you are rare and unique and special and nuanced, the person who's right for you is going to be rare and special and unique and nuanced. And it's going to work because the two of you value each other's unique way of thinking, unique approach to life, the way that you enjoy life or go through life, your energy. You're not supposed to be for everyone. If you're for most people, you're doing something wrong. You're chameleonizing yourself to whoever comes along, adjusting to suit the needs of the person in front of you, people-pleasing, being an inauthentic version of you. If you're doing things right, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, won't want you. And that's kind of a liberating thought. Trent Shelton, shout out to Trent, a coach, I heard him recently use this example that when it comes to success and selling people on your vision is seen through lenses that you wear. It's a prescription that's yours. So sometimes when someone else in life, be it for a business idea or somewhere we want to go in life, when they try on our glasses to see our vision, they'll struggle to see it because they'll be like, I can't see clearly. And his point is they're not supposed to be able to see that clearly. It's your vision. Those are your glasses. That's your lens. That's what makes it yours. I kind of think that the same is true in dating, that most people aren't going to be able to see all of the things that are really special about you. But someone will come along who will see your specific way of being, operating, viewing life, and going through the world and think, that's for me. Most people won't. Which is why, by the way, I almost feel like we think that the more people get to know us, the more they should like us. But in some ways, the more people get to know us, the more they should get to a point of going, I don't know if this person is for me in a relationship. Because we're revealing more and more and more about ourselves. And we're looking for that person who fits with that, and vice versa. So I actually think that we're looking for a very specific kind of human being in this world that wants to go through life with us. Why do we expect that to be easy? That shouldn't be easy. I once had a person that I worked with who, at the end of a tough breakup, where I felt a sense of disappointment that this person wasn't for me, I remember him saying to me at the end of this relationship, Matt, I don't think it gets to be that easy for you. He said, you're a specific kind of person. I don't think it gets to be easy for you. And there was something liberating about that thought. You know what? If I was truly going to find my soulmate, and I don't believe in the one, but I do kind of believe in this idea of soulmate, someone who you just, like, on the deepest level, it feels right with them. I don't think that finding that person should necessarily be easy. And I kind of want to get you off the hook of thinking that that should be easy. I want to give you permission to go and get rejected. And that rejection is going to be worth it. Because if you get rejected 50 times and the 51st person is that person, you're going to be so glad that you got rejected 50 times. And more than that, you almost certainly needed to go and get rejected those 50 times in order to meet that person. Because if you go through your dating life hoping to be this assassin, you have a sniper rifle, you have one bullet in that gun, and your job is just to find the right person and fire, your odds are tiny. In order to get to that 51st person, you actually have to go through a bunch of things that are wrong. You have to go through a bunch of rejections. And think about it, to find my people on YouTube, I have hundreds of thousands of people bouncing off of my videos and deciding it's not for them. So in our dating life, where most of us have a handful of relationships in a lifetime, or maybe go on a handful of dates in a year, why do we think that we're going to get so lucky that it's going to happen in one of those handful? For some people it does, but for a lot of people it doesn't. And that's not because they're awful, and it's not because they're invisible, and it's not because no one wants them. It's because they're giving far too much weight to the rejections in their life. And they're allowing the rejections to make them go into their cave and just check out of the game altogether. You can't do that because what is coming for you is too special. Now, what I believe is that this isn't just a numbers game. We actually have a high degree of influence. We can't control everything about when we meet the right person and when it's going to happen, but we have a high degree of influence. If we really believe in our vision, you know, what Trent says about someone putting on your glasses may not be able to see your vision. That's true. But if we really believe in our vision and we're excited about it, and in dating, it's your vision for your own value, your vision for where your life is going, your vision, your lens for how great life is and how happy you are, the more you connect to that and the more you believe in it, really believe in it, the more you're able to transfer that energy to somebody else. It's like me right now. If I connect deeply to what I'm saying, why is it that I have my videos aren't for everyone, but why is it I have a big audience? I believe it's because I really, really, really care about what it is I have. I really believe it's valuable and I'm really connected to it. And I believe that when people like yourself watch these videos, you can feel that. And that's why you stay. And that's why people join me on bigger journeys. And that's something that I've had to work on in my life because I wasn't always this sure of myself. I wasn't always this confident. I didn't always believe in my vision to this extent. And I know that if you're getting rejected so frequently, you can get to a point where you feel like no one can even understand how hard this is for me to keep putting myself out there. And when we feel that, what happens is we feel unattractive, we feel worthless, and so we start to treat ourselves like that. We don't go to the gym, or we don't take care of ourselves anymore because we think, what's the point? We don't do the things that love ourselves, that keep us feeling good. And then we start to become a worse version of ourselves because we're not loving ourselves and we're not taking care of ourselves. And that feeds back into dating again. And it becomes this spiral. And that's how people get a long way from feeling like their best selves anymore. They get so detached from their own value and their own confidence that it can be hard to find a way back. And the shame about that, and I say this with 15 years of doing this with people, and not one kind of person, not one demographic, not one age group, and seeing the results that happen for people if they can just stay in the game, and if they can just bring the right energy to it, in spite of all of that pain. And I know for some people that takes a whole different level of resilience than it does for other people. I know that. But when you do stay in the game, magical things do happen. You can find a relationship that is better than any relationship you've ever had in the past. You can find someone who actually is right for you. And you don't need everyone to be right for you. You don't. You don't even need 99.9% of people to be right for you. You just need one. The saddest part is that if we ever come across that one, and our energy isn't in the place where they can see our light, where they can see how great we are, we can lose out on the person that's right for us. So here's my invitation to you. I want you to, in the face of all rejection, in the face of all pain, to still say to yourself, I'm going to invest in making myself the most confident, happy version of me. And I'm going to accept that I'm going to be wrong for a lot of people. I'm going to accept that there's more rejection on the horizon for me. I'm going to accept that I'm still going to have to go through some challenging situations. But I'm also going to keep in my mind the entire time that if I get my happiness to the right place, and if I get my confidence to the right place, then I'm going to be able to move through all of that and part it to the side so that I can meet my person, the person that's going to make it all worthwhile. Now, this October, I'm spending 6 days with an exclusive group of people that I'm going to be doing this with. I'm going to be working with them on transforming their confidence from the inside out so that they have a completely different relationship with themselves, so that they fundamentally see themselves differently than they ever have before, so that they can bring a powerful energy to their love lives, and so that they can finally attract the relationship they've always wanted to attract. And if you'd like to be a part of that, this moment right now is my invitation to you to apply. You can go to mhretreat.com. You'll find all of the information there. I hope you go and look into it. It's my favorite thing in the world that I do. And I know that if you do this, it will be one of the greatest decisions you ever make in your life, and you will never stop thanking yourself for it. So I'll see you over there. mhretreat.com is the link. Thank you for watching this, and thank you for being brave enough to not give up.
We don't want to leave the house. It tends to just narrow our life more and more and more until we've cornered ourselves into one room. I've found that there are some simple ideas that can be life-saving in a place like this.
I am worried that life remains a battle for me, and I will never figure out how to make it lighter. I'm tired of my health issues. I lack a positive outlook, and on most days, I also lack hope. You know, something that keeps me going, makes me want to keep going. I lack connection, and I am deeply afraid all of this is my fault. I guess, in a way, I'm afraid I will never change, and I will remain miserable.
I've felt that. I've been exactly there before. I don't take that lightly, Karina, because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know exactly the kind of darkness that you're experiencing when you're in that place. It's all-consuming. You lose hope because you wake up. You've woken up enough days in a row where nothing has changed, and it feels as though nothing ever does change. You don't feel capable of changing the things that would need to change in order for life to feel joyful and happy and even normal. You know, when you feel like that, you would give anything just to feel normal, not even great. You know, you don't even really relate to the tone of self-development that focuses on living an extraordinary life and being great and being your best self. You're not able to connect with the idea of being your best self when you don't even know anymore what it would feel like just to feel normal. It's a bit like being sick all the time. And you said you've got some health issues, so you may really be here. But when you're sick all the time, you pray just to feel well, just to feel okay, not to feel happy, just to not be in pain would be a miracle. And when we live long enough not in that place, life seems untenable. And when life seems untenable, we become somewhat nihilistic, and it can be hard to be around people. I know when I've been in that place, it was very, very isolating because I felt almost like I couldn't trust myself to be around people and not be found out that I was so unhappy, or bring them down, or find their experience completely unrelatable. And if I were actually honest about my experience, I felt that they would find it completely unrelatable, and they would kind of almost just not know how to handle it. You know, God, I just met up with you for coffee, Matt. I didn't realize that you were in this dark abyss that you don't know how to crawl out of. You know, I thought I don't know how to be around people anymore, and I would want to just be by myself, because it felt like that was in a way the only place I could really trust. I could be in pain on my own without company and not have to worry about anyone needing anything from me, or worry about entertaining anyone or pretending I was better than I was. I could just exist in the state I was in, and I would shrink my life. And that's one of the cycles that we can get into, is when we feel like that, we start saying no to things, and we start rejecting life, and we don't want to meet up with that friend. We don't want to go and do that gym session. We don't want to leave the house. It tends to just narrow our life more and more and more until we've cornered ourselves into one room. I've found that there are some simple ideas that can be life-saving in a place like this. One of them is to understand that there are other people like you who are really great. I mean, really great, terrific people who are going through the same thing, and that it really does feel like you're alone. You really do feel like because when you feel like that, you sort of oscillate between a kind of resigned nihilism and sheer panic. The sheer panic being that I can't live like this. I don't know what to do. I'm so alone. No one can understand what I'm going through. It's all going through inside. It's all happening inside my mind in a way that other people can't relate to or don't know. And you feel trapped. You feel trapped inside yourself. When you experience that panic, when it takes over, it then feeds on itself. And the panic or the anxiety or the depression that you feel about feeling bad starts to exacerbate it. And it can take feeling bad from a 9 out of 10 to a 15, because now all of a sudden you're feeling anxious and scared about feeling awful in life, and you develop a really bad relationship with feeling bad. And then you're into a cycle. So number one, recognize that other great people, great people we love and admire and think the world of, many of them are going through something like what you're going through right now. And the more I talk to people, the more I realize that there are people who experienced what I experienced back then in that moment of my life. So you're not alone, and shared pain makes pain lighter without even the pain going away. It just makes it lighter. It just makes you feel like you're in company. 2, understand that you don't know what you'll feel about this in 5 years. You really don't. You know how you feel now. You know how you felt for a long time. Although I will say that pain is very centralizing. So you do your experience of pain is that you don't remember. We don't have a good memory around pain. It's almost just this kind of atmosphere of it's been really bad for all this time. But there are moments in your day where you don't feel so much pain. There are moments where you do feel a little lighter, or where you're distracted from it. And those moments are really, really important. They're kind of a key, because if you feel okay for 5 minutes, that's not just hope. That's a data point. You then know that you might be able to move the needle enough to feel good for 10 minutes. And if you understand that formula of what made me feel okay for 5 minutes, I might be able to replicate that many times a week or even a day. Eventually, you might be able to get a pain-free hour. And that's really powerful. And it gives you a new reference point that you can actually have some impact on this. And over time, that impact can get bigger and bigger because you really learn your way around it and you start to learn your formula. One of the things I'll say to you, Karina, is on the virtual retreat, one of the key things that I teach people is that we all have a formula that if we follow it, it makes us feel good. It makes us feel better. It resets our pain. It connects us with what is good in our life. It connects us with what's important to us. It connects us with our why, with what's driving us. And if you learn that formula for yourself, and if you join us on the virtual retreat, I'll teach you this myself, because I use it every day. I've used it to get over the worst moments of my life, and not just the worst moments, the worst periods of my life. And I've had some bad periods that have lasted years. And I did start to lose hope, but I've been able to use that formula to genuinely change my life to a point where now I'm not actually as afraid of pain, because I know my way out of it. I know that it's not forever when it happens. I know that my relationship with it can massively decrease my pain. So even if something is very painful, either physically or psychologically, I know that my relationship with that thing can massively increase or decrease that pain. And so I've learned how to manage my relationship with those things. Anyone close to me will tell you that I still have my moments. But, Audrey will tell you this. My recovery time is pretty damn good. I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
That's what you always say, which I think is a really valid point for this, is when I get upset, which also happens, it's all about the recovery time, right? It's about how quickly you can feel better. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel despair. It's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel all of these things. But how quickly are you able to kind of pull yourself out of it and move on and dust yourself off, versus how much do you wallow and kind of you ruminate, I suppose, on the negativity, which I definitely think I'm guilty of doing. And I suspect with, what Karina is saying, the way that her outlook on life is as such, as she feels all those things, she probably does the same thing where she's focusing on all of the ways in which she's not happy.
Right. But the things you're unhappy about can be legitimate. They may be very real. But if we connect with an idea or a driving force behind, you can believe we're all screwed. Like you can believe that something's going to happen in the world and we're all screwed. And if you really believe that, and by the way, who knows, you might be right. Like maybe the apocalypse is around the corner. I don't know. But if you're right, that's a real reason to be unhappy. It's like, that's not like, I understand what you're saying about wallowing, but that's not like, in a sense, wallowing. It's just like you're just very connected to this really bad thing. But you can also be connected to even that. You can say, well, you know what my reason for living is going to be then? It's going to be this. I am going to show up for the people in my life right now because, my God, this time is precious. Or, I really believe in, you can believe, for a while, when I was at my lowest, I believed that my reason for being was just helping alleviate other people's suffering. I was like, you know what? If I suffer this bad, other people can suffer this bad. And if that's true, then I want to help. I want to be able to be of service in some way. Even if it's just me talking about this, then maybe I can serve somebody. If I can hurt this badly, other people can hurt this badly. And if they can hurt this badly, I might actually be able to be a gift in someone's life by showing up for them and giving them what they need, because I know what I need and I can give that. So and that doesn't have to be a reason, but I'm saying connect. Even when your pain is real, you can connect to something that's equally real that makes life so meaningful for you. And the more you connect to that purpose and that meaning, the more your life starts to gain a kind of momentum. And one day, Karina, the thing I'll just finish by saying is, one day you may look back on this and be able to smile about how difficult you found it then and how much easier you find it today. And I really believe that, not as positive talk. I really believe that there are things that you can learn and things that you can do that don't even involve taking away your health issues, that can radically change how enjoyable your life is. And by the way, if you want to come and do that with us in June, the virtual retreat is happening from the 2nd to the 4th. I didn't plan on talking about this right now in this moment, but my God, if you're experiencing any of what I'm talking about here, I've got a wealth of things that have helped me that I will share with you over 3 days on the virtual retreat. The link for that is mhvirtualretreat.com.
This was a question that came in from one of our members. She says, I'm 29 and starting to feel really uncomfortable with the fact that I'm still single. I can't help but wonder what's wrong with me that I haven't found something lasting yet. How do I shift this mindset and ensure it doesn't sabotage my dating life? I don't want to be too eager and end up settling for the next decent thing that comes my way, and I'm afraid I've done this with the last few men I have dated. Today, I'm going to be talking about 7 different mindsets that can help you out of the anxiety of still being single. Now, before we get into that, I just wanted to let everyone know that I have a free training coming up called Dating with Results. If you're sick and tired of being on the dating treadmill, if you're sick and tired of people not treating dating seriously, who you go on dates with, people using you, love bombing, gaslighting, if you want to get results in your love life, go there now, sign up for free, and join me for Dating with Results. Now, onto the video. The first thing I would say to this person is to avoid the seduction of false progress. When we feel like we need to make progress and then we see someone in front of us, maybe they're not quite right for us, maybe they fall beneath certain standards we have for the behavior we want, or maybe we just don't really click with them on the level that we want for our future partner. But simply dating them and letting that slip into seeing them and seeing them slip into some kind of current or temporary relationship feels like progress. It feels like forward momentum. But those relationships that we settle for in the short term, just so that we can tell our friends that we're seeing someone again, just so that we can post a relationship status that we're with someone, we can let the world know that we have someone, they're costly in terms of time and energy. It's a bit like relationship musical chairs. Everyone's going around in a circle until the music stops, and then all of a sudden everyone scrambles to find the nearest chair. No one wants to be the person left standing in musical chairs. Well, being single can be the same thing. You're just, any chair will do. Just get me sat on a chair so that I'm not left standing at the end of this. But then you realize you haven't been discerning at all about the chair you've sat on. Is it a comfy chair? Is it a chair you want to be sat on for the rest of your life? Some people are sat down on a 3-legged chair. Other people, this person sat on a chair with a whoopee cushion on it, because we're terrified that when the music stops, we're not going to have a place to reside. We're not going to have a person. So we grab at any person. Number 2, lose the shame, own your intentions. I reread this woman's question. I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable with the fact that I'm still single. Notice that language, still single. It carries a kind of shame that there's something wrong with me. There is a desperation about me that I'm still single. And God forbid anyone else see or feel that desperation. And what that does for a lot of people, I've been doing this for 15 years now, and what I watch is people fake a kind of indifference because they're terrified to be seen to be trying in their love lives. Many people would rather be in the wrong relationship than be seen to be out there single trying to find the right relationship. Because at least by being in the wrong relationship, they can say they're with somebody. That shame is something we have to lose. And the way we lose it is by getting back to just owning the intention. What is the intention? I'm a human being who is capable of giving an extraordinary amount of love, who is still romantic and excited and optimistic about how good love can be. And I want to find that. There is no shame in that. That's just beautiful. And it's such an unkind thing to do to ourselves, to take this beautiful intention that we've had for a very long time and to make it synonymous with desperation and insecurities and all of our worst fears about our inadequacy. Number 3, break the spell of comparison. Even in the language of I'm 29 and I still haven't met someone yet, are the symptoms of comparison. You know, I thought I'd be here by now. And we measure where we should be in relation to other people. Where are people normally by my age? Where are my friends right now? Are they married? Are they in relationships? Oh my God, they are. Some of them are even starting to think about having a family. I feel left behind. There's all that comparison that makes us unhappy. And by the way, there are some of you in the comments who will say, she's 29, she's a baby, she's so young, and you'll be doing the comparison game. Because you'll be doing it in relation to your age. Oh God, if she only knew, I'm 50. And when I was 29, I didn't realize how much time I had. But maybe there's a 70-year-old looking at you and saying the same thing. When I was 50, I didn't realize that I could have a whole new life starting at that point. It goes on and on. These comparisons happen all the time. One thing is universal. All of us are going to be humbled at some point in our lives by being, to use a Monopoly reference, sent back to go, right? We can think that we're making progress at one point in our lives. You find a partner at 28, you get married by 30, and you feel like you've made massive progress. And then all of a sudden at 32, you're getting a divorce. No one would have wanted that for themselves. They didn't predict it at the point where they were getting married, but it happened. And all of a sudden life went, go back to go. And this happens in all areas of our life. Sometimes it happens financially. You thought you were in a certain position and then some cataclysmic event precipitates you having to go back to go financially. Or it might be in your health. You suddenly have a health scare and that sends you back to go health-wise. We all have these setbacks in life. And, to me, a lot of growing older, and especially the wiser people around me, they start to lose that framing of life of, I'm trying to do this by this time. Because in the context of a life full of forward motion and then massive setbacks and taking a big leap ahead and then having another massive setback and kind of being sent back to go in different areas regularly, it starts to seem a bit silly. What we realize is the only consistent thing in my life is my trajectory and who I'm becoming. I am every day growing and becoming wiser, more learned, more experienced, more seasoned in life. And we can refine that person to become better and better at handling life. The kind of funny thing about life is while we're racing to show material progress, I'm now in a relationship, now I'm graduating to marriage, now I have a family. Life is far more complex than that. You could find someone today and not make that relationship last because you're not ready to make a relationship last today. Or you could be single for the next 5 years and the relationship you find in 5 years lasts because of who you became in that time. Life is complex. Lose the comparison. It's just your journey. Number 4, make friends with uncertainty. One of the things that is making this person so afraid is looking at the future and catastrophizing. What if I'm still single at 35? What if I'm still single at 40? What if I never meet somebody? Everything changes in life. Everything. Our worst problems today will change. They will shapeshift into something else. They will evolve because everything in life is always evolving. It is always changing. And so we have to make space for that in that fear of the future. Instead of having this incredible fear of the future, we have to kind of get our feet on the ground today and say, I'm here in this moment right now. My worst fears aren't actually happening right now. They are, by definition, they're fears, they're future projection. That thing isn't actually happening right now. What's happening right now is my feet are on the ground. I'm here in this moment. There's some stuff in my life that I want to fix. There's some stuff I want to work on. There's some stuff that hasn't happened yet, but it's all changing and I cannot predict where I will be a year from now. And that would be true, by the way, if you were in a relationship right now. Don't think that other people have been given the gift of certainty and you haven't in your single state. They do not own the gift of certainty. They're in a marriage, so they're certain that this person will never leave. They're certain that this person will never cheat on them. They're certain this person will never die. No one gets that certainty. It is not available to us. While uncertainty may create discomfort at times in our life, we can learn to make friends with it. Part of making friends with it to me is, yes, it may be that some of my fears may be confirmed. It might be that some bad things will happen in my life. But what's certain is that everything changes. This feeling I have will change. My relationship with my problems will change. The circumstances of the problems themselves will change. And within that uncertainty, by the way, is also something wildly exciting, which is that anything can happen. At any moment, someone could walk into your life or you into theirs, and what is sparked is the great relationship of your life. Speaking of anything is possible, remember, and this is point number 5, it only takes one. Baseball, you get a certain number of swings and then you strike out. This is not true of our love life. No matter how many times you've tried, there is no cap on how many times you can try. on how many people you can approach, on how many relationships you can enter into. You can keep going at this until you find the right person, until you become the right person, until you find the right relationship. You only need one. How many things in the entire world give you those odds? It doesn't matter how many times you try, you can literally keep trying until you find the relationship. You are only limited by your own fear of rejection. Number 6, learning how to be happy on your own is one of the most worthwhile muscles you can build. So much of the work that allows us to bring our best selves to a relationship, have standards in a relationship, be independent while also being in a relationship where there is a kind of interdependence, is best done while we're on our own. When your friends are all out with their partners on a Friday night and you find yourself having to sit in that feeling of being on your own, self-soothing, learning that you actually quite like your own company, the relationships, the friendships that we invest in when we find ourselves single, the kind of support network that we build, the passions that we find we invest in. These are all things that give us this solid base that when we find someone allows us to ask a crucial question. Does this person elevate my life? Does this person add to my joy? Or do they actually compromise this joy that I've created? Number 7, learn to fall in love with your life the way that your life is happening. And this kind of gets completely out of the comparison mode. And it means a complete presence with our life. Fall in love with your life the way it's happening, instead of the way you thought it should have happened. Instead of being married to the blueprint that you once had for yourself about the way it was supposed to unfold. Fall in love with the way that it's unfolding, the good and the bad, because that's your life. And the product of that is going to be your unique product, the product of your pain, the product of things not going your way, the product of the muscle you have to build in the difficult times, in the lonely times. That is all creating this treasure that is uniquely yours. And when you get to the end of your story, it will be your story. It won't be a cheap copy of somebody else's journey. And the more you can just go with the flow of that, and every step of the way, just decide to make the most of whatever is going on right now. I'm single at 29. How do I make the most of that? How do I get the most fun out of that? How do I get the most joy out of that? How do I get the most learning out of that? How do I make the biggest impact out of that? That's where I am. What can I do with that? The more we can fall in love with our own journey and make the most of that particular journey, the better a life we're going to have. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to take these 7 mindsets and harness them to find love this year, come join us on Dating with Results, the live training I am doing very, very soon. Go over to datingwithresults.com to sign up for free, and I will see you there. One of the most fearful thoughts that people have in their lives is, will I ever meet the love of my life? Perhaps one of the most painful thoughts that people experience is, did I just lose the love of my life? We meet someone, we fall in love, we want it to work, we'd give anything for it to work, and then we lose that person, or that person threatens to leave. And our entire body and mind is screaming that we're losing the thing that was meant for us. I have a phrase in my mind that I believe is extremely important in creating the lens that you look at your relationships through. The right relationship isn't brittle. I look at the situation right now in the last few months, and the pandemic has precipitated what we hear in the news, an extraordinary number of divorces in different countries. And I think to myself, yes, this situation may have brought people to the edge. It has certainly created an extreme scenario. And there's no doubt in my mind that even in the best relationships, there are times where it will have raised the temperature of an argument, of a conflict. But I don't believe that coronavirus created divorces. I believe it revealed difficulties in relationships. I believe that even if those things were unconscious until two people were forced to be together for that amount of time, 3 months in a room together does not end the right relationship. So when someone tells us they want to leave, that they're considering leaving, or that they've made their mind up, there are two things to consider. Number one, they're leaving because they're not good at dealing with tough times in a relationship. Maybe you are having an argument, maybe you are having a difference of opinion, but that doesn't have to be relationship ending. If someone is leaving over something that could be saved, it may be a reflection of the fact that they're not the type to go through difficult times with you. And that's important to know now. I think it's a good thing for someone to leave now if they don't have staying power, because that's many years it could have saved you. You don't want someone 5 years from now leaving because that's the first time you had a difficult situation or conversation. In that sense, this year has been a blessing for many relationships because it's created a pressure that has revealed relationships that shouldn't be far earlier than it would have been revealed otherwise. There are couples that should have broken up and did break up this year that could have taken another 5 years to break up. The second reason someone may be leaving is because they feel that fundamentally you are not meeting what they perceive to be their needs. Now, this may not be communicated to you. In fact, the argument you just had may have been blown up into something so big and so severe that that's the reason they're leaving. But many people break up where the argument that preceded that moment becomes the ammunition that someone needed to end something that they were thinking about ending for some time. You may feel that when I say that, that is just a tragic, horrible, heartbreaking thought. The question you have to ask yourself is, was I doing my best? Have I been doing my best? If the answer is yes, why would you want to be with someone whose needs you can't meet, even on your best day? Or someone who you have to struggle so hard to meet the needs of? See, a relationship isn't the gymnastics at the Olympics, where someone does a flawless 3-minute routine on the mat and then beats themselves up because they didn't stick the landing perfectly at the end of the routine, giving them an 8 out of 10 instead of a 9. A relationship is real human stuff. Yes, it shouldn't be easy. I don't think that the right relationship is easy any more than being fit and healthy is easy. It requires conscious effort to make something great and to keep it great over time. But that doesn't mean that you should be fighting every day to win a gold medal just so that the relationship survives. Being with someone whose needs you don't feel you can meet, or you don't feel you can meet consistently, is a slow form of torture that will erode your confidence over time until you forget who you were. And by the way, even as I'm saying this, there may be this creeping part of you that says, but I didn't do my best. I messed up. You know, there were a bunch of times where I acted badly, where I was too jealous, where I was too needy, where I was too desperate, where I asked too much, where I was high maintenance, where I didn't make that person's life easy. This may be a complex philosophical point to convey in what I'm trying to make a short video, but failing. But I think that we're even too hard on ourselves when we recall how much better we could have done. I think there's an imagined idea of how much better we could have done.
that we think, well, I could have been doing this and I could have been doing that and I could have said this like that. We have all these imagined ideas, a fantasy version of ourselves that would have kept that person. But maybe what you were doing, even if it wasn't objectively the best you could do, maybe it was the best you could do at the time, with your resources, with your current wounds, with the things that you're dealing with internally, with the knowledge that you had in the moment. Maybe that was your best at the time. Maybe it's not your best a year from now, or 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but maybe it really was you doing your best, even though you feel your best fell short. That's normal. So remember that when you're torturing yourself over something you should have done differently or said differently, that idea you have in your head of what you could have been in that moment is theoretical. It's true that we can evolve in each relationship. It's true that the previous relationship you had will allow you to bring a wiser you to the table in the next one. But just remember this, when you find your brain laser focused on something you think you did wrong, the right relationship is not brittle. Before you leave today, please understand that the deep work that we do in a video like this is so, so important. I love the videos where I get to give a fun, practical thing that you can say to someone or text someone, a technique that works. But this kind of deep work is absolutely crucial to making our love lives work. It's crucial to making any of our relationships in life work. If you want to invest more in the deeper side of the conflicts you face internally, the ways you beat yourself up, the ways you don't allow yourself to feel good about yourself or move on or feel confident, my retreat program is where I do the deepest work with people on what's going on inside. If you want to come and check that out for yourself, we have the at-home version now that you can do, so you don't have to make it to a live retreat. You can do it from home where you are right now. I'll leave a link here. Check it out, and thank you for watching.
So there are those moments when you really want to talk to someone because they are hot. And you're thinking, how am I going to make this happen? Do I need to use one of Matthew Hussey's world famous lines? Do I walk over there and make it happen? Do I try and get them to come to me? How long are they going to be here for? Because if I keep deliberating like this, eventually they're going to leave, and then I'm going to go home and watch Family Guy and sit there and wonder about all the girls that I never spoke to. Today, I want to give you a really simple piece of advice that's completely risk-free. You're not going to get rejected, and it's going to get any guy you want in the room to come over to you. You're not going to have to go over there and use a line. I know I give you that stuff, and I always want you to be able to have that. But this little technique is so ridiculously simple, and it's going to have him walk over from the other side of the room. It's like mind control. This is Jedi shit, ladies. Maybe there's some men watching. Let's bring a little love for the men this week. Guys, I know some of you are out there. I know you're watching. I know you don't comment, most of you, because you're like, oh, these are videos for women. You're not supposed to comment. I'm not supposed to be here. You're here. I love it. I respect you. Ladies, let's do a little round of applause for all the guys here that we never give any credit to. I love you, mans. I found a really simple little thing, which is going to be really obvious to a lot of you. Maybe you've been doing it for a lifetime, but I saw this in action the other week, and it was really good, and it just worked so well. I was sitting at a pool in Los Angeles, and on one side of the pool there was a guy, and on another side of the pool there was a group of women, and this guy was looking at one of the women. She kept looking back, and there was just this moment going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually the guy, he goes like this. Now, the reason he did that, this little gesture, is because they'd been looking at each other. They realized they had a level of chemistry and attraction, but she was with all of her friends. So that's hard. Ladies, that's hard. When you're with all of your friends and a guy wants to talk to you and he has to come into the group where all of your friends are going to look at him, some of you are going to giggle, some of you are going to whisper to each other, that's really hard. It's like every teenage movie we've ever seen where the guy just gets blown out and laughed at as he walks away. So he did the smart thing. He looked at her and he did this, which is kind of like this, it's like he's firing a dart, just this precision dart at her and bringing her out of the group. Now, she didn't just leave, she did this. She went, 5 minutes later, he did it again. He's like, and she goes, and they have this little moment again. And then she clears this little space on the sunbed next to her. She like moves a couple of things and she lets him see that she's moving them. And then she says, like, see? He then walks over, sits there, and they talk for a few minutes. They exchange details, and he leaves. Everything about this worked so well. If you're in a group of your friends, and he's in a group of his friends, the wave over is something you can absolutely do as a woman. By the way, you can also do it if it's one-to-one. If he's just one guy, you feel like there's something there, you're one woman on your own, you can wave him over. It's not a problem. And by the way, you don't have to be by a poolside in LA to do this. You could be in a bar and do this. How often do you just wish, you keep looking at someone, they keep looking at you, and you just wish that they would come over already? This is going to speed up the process. If you've looked at them enough, you're not going to do it after the first look. You're not going to look at someone and go, all right, that's arrogant and it's a little much. You're looking at someone for a few minutes and you can feel it because he's looking, you're looking, he's looking, you're looking. That's the time to eventually you can be like, now, I know your question, what do you do when he comes over? When he comes over, you go, I just wanted to say hi. How freaking cute is that? I just wanted to say hi. Oh, not like he comes over and then you feel like, so I really wanted to ask you a question. That is too much. I just wanted to say hi. So cute. And by the way, he's done all the work. You've just gestured in a regal fashion. He's walked over and he's done all the work to get to you. Now you're just, I just want to say hi. He's now, the onus is on him, by the way, to continue the conversation a little bit. He's come over to you. Do not let that guy go home because he was not sure whether he should come over to you, but you kept looking at each other and now you're thinking, God, we had chemistry, but we never got to speak. Don't be that person. Just wave them over. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to go, no, you come over. Like, they're going to wave you over and you'll be like, So really, nothing bad can come of this. Just do it in a safe environment. Don't do it in a dark alley. Do you know what I mean? Don't be in a dark alley and you're making eye contact and you go, Don't do that. That really will end in bad consequences. I'll see you soon.
Matthew Hussey here with Love Life. We have a question today from Ashley. I am 26, have a good job, and I always hold my head up smiling to attract everyone, letting them know that I'm a personable individual. But how do you get the man to actually ask you out, show interest in you, and make an effort? Good question, Ashley. But here's the thing. Just because you're smiling at men, it doesn't mean they're going to rush over to talk to you. I know that I talk a lot about, in my book, I talk a lot about smiling and eye contact and how important those things are. But that doesn't mean that those things alone are going to guarantee guys come over. In fact, there are many guys that are still standing around wondering if they should come over to you. I'm going to answer this with a story to illuminate. I was in a hotel recently and I was with a few friends of mine. We were walking through the lobby of the hotel. And as we were walking through, there were a group of women walking in the opposite direction. Now, as they walked past, each of us made eye contact. I remember making eye contact with the woman leading the pack, and we looked at each other for a prolonged period of time before passing each other. Now, I can honestly say that we as a group wanted to talk to them. We wanted to see what they were up to and what's going on, but we kept walking. Does that mean we weren't interested? No. Does it mean we weren't attracted? No. It just means that we didn't take the opportunity in that moment. Now, I wonder, Ashley, how many guys have done the exact same thing with you. But the story doesn't end there. Here's what happened. One of them, towards the back, turned around as we were walking away and said, and she had to shout it a little bit because we were already getting out of sight. She said, "Where are you guys going? Where are you guys going?" And all of a sudden, we did an about turn, looked back at them, and started walking towards them. We walked over, and the two of our groups started talking. We talked for about 20 minutes and then joined up and decided to go and have fun that evening, to go out and just socialize. And we had this really wonderful, fun evening because we were out there thinking, oh, it'd be great to just meet some people and have a good time. They were, I'm sure, thinking the same thing, and we did. But the only reason it happened was because one of them at the last moment turned around and said, "Where are you guys going?" By the way, not a bad line, actually. So worth adding to your little repertoire of things to say in social situations. Where are you guys going? If you see someone leaving a venue and you don't want to lose the opportunity to speak to them, just say, "Where are you going?" It's kind of cute as well because it assumes that you have a right to know. Even though you've never spoken to this person before. I think it's really lovely and adorable. Where are you going? That's what they said to us. It resulted in an interaction that otherwise would never have happened. Was my point that if you put in an extra millimeter of effort, you can change your whole love life. It doesn't involve you doing 1,000 things on top of what you're doing right now. It doesn't involve some giant shift in your identity. Just going 1 millimeter further than you normally go can mean the difference between more guys than you know what to do with and thinking that no one is attracted to you. That's it. I'll speak to you soon. Come join me on Facebook, facebook.com/Matthew Hussey. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you soon.
There's a particular paradox I face in my everyday life. When I go out, there are sometimes people that come and talk to me. I'm not suggesting these people are people who know me or recognize me, just everyday people who come over to say hello. Especially if it's a woman, I always feel a particular sense of admiration because I am always talking about how you should go and talk to people. You shouldn't be afraid of making the first move. But there is always a moment where my initial admiration turns to fear. Now, what am I afraid of? I'll give you a situation that literally happened to me last night. I was standing in a bar with a couple of friends, and two women who had initially seen us at the bar then came to talk to us when we were standing in another part of the venue. We had this moment with them of eye contact at the bar, so it didn't feel unnatural when they came over to talk to us. But there was a moment about 3 or 4 minutes in where it became apparent that they had no plans to leave that conversation anytime soon. In other words, if the three of us were standing there like this in this U shape, they completed the circle and stood there facing inwards and didn't alter their body language at all the whole time. You know when it feels like someone's hijacked your conversation, you were sort of really in the middle of something big and then they came in. Now that's not a problem because of course every time you go and talk to someone socially, unless they're standing there in silence at that moment, you are going to be hijacking a conversation, and that's okay. The problem comes about when you show no willingness or predisposition to do your own thing at any point. And that was exactly what happened. So what first was this great, oh, there's new people coming to talk to us, turns into this thing of, are they ever going to leave? Or is this now it? Are we three in a relationship with these two people for the rest of the evening? Whenever we tell a story about ladies and it involves myself, everyone always wants to know what happened afterwards. That's always the thing that happens in a live seminar. So what happened? I will tell you at the end of this video. I'll tell you exactly what happened with these ladies at the end of this interaction, so stay tuned for that. But let's actually get to the lesson first. Ladies, I know this is daunting when a guy does this to you. When a guy comes over and you think, I am now stuck with this person. And of course, he's not alone. His two mates are standing there having a conversation between them, but they're not really having a conversation. They're looking over to see if he's doing a good job and they can go and join him. Oh, it's on. He needs me. Tag me in, Goose. You can't actually enjoy the interaction, even if you're attracted to him. I mean, that's the amazing thing. The worry, the fear that someone is not going to leave actually stops you being able to enjoy the interaction itself. Not to mention the fact that attraction is based on this kind of push-pull mechanism where you feel someone in your presence, but then maybe you feel them leave, or you at least feel them threatening to leave subconsciously. So there's always that feeling of wanting to keep them around. If they suddenly, from the get-go, even though you haven't really earned that level of attention, turn into you and don't show any signs of either looking around the room, talking to someone else at any point, you start to worry that this may be something that is going to be hard to walk away from. You never want to make someone feel like they have to make excuses in order to walk away from you and leave. I know some of you are thinking that what I mean is when you're standing talking to someone, you don't really pay them any attention. You look over their shoulder and isn't that rude? That's a horrible thing to do. Yes, I don't really mean that. You kind of want someone to come over to you and say something, but also behave in a way that suggests that unless you do something to keep them around, they won't be there forever. You have to be interesting and charismatic in order for me to want to stay. So how do you do this in practice? You might walk over there and start by saying hi, but not position your whole body facing them. So if this person is facing me here, I'm not gonna suddenly turn in and start looking at them like this. I might position my body slightly turned away and just say something from here. Hi, how's it going? I noticed you over there. I might say something from that place. The second thing is, don't be afraid 30 seconds in, a minute in, 2 minutes in, to turn back to your friend and start talking to your friend for a minute or two. You're not leaving the situation. You're not going to the other side of the bar. You're still standing there next to them. You have proximity, but you're talking to your friend again. So the guys are here. You're then turned away talking to your friend and saying, oh, did I tell you about that thing the other day? And you keep talking to them for a little bit. The guys now standing here are aware of A, the fact that you spoke to them and therefore it's okay for them to keep speaking to you. But B, they're not just going to have your 100% attention no matter what. They now have to be the ones to reinitiate. And this is a nice test, by the way, because you're now seeing if they actually are attracted by whether they reinitiate or not. It's hard to see if someone's truly attracted if you never leave. If you're always standing there, you never really get that gauge. One of the most useful tips I could give a guy, for example, is to go and talk to a woman for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and then turn away and keep talking to your friend. If she likes you, she's going to turn around and keep talking to you because she now feels she has a level of comfort. But you'll never really know how much she likes you if you don't give her an opportunity to reinitiate, if you're always the one who's driving forward. So give them an opportunity to reinitiate. Ladies, this is a great tip because you know men do like doing the chasing. It's not about letting him do all the chasing, because if you just wait for him to come up to you, there's a good chance nothing's going to happen. He wants to chase. He wants to go on the hunt, but he wants to feel like there's going to be a chance of success if he does. So you coming over to him is fine. That's not a problem. But staying there and not giving him the chance to then reinitiate and chase you a little bit, that's a problem. You want to allow him that little bit of pleasure from coming after you. That then creates attraction because he feels like part of now talking to you was his idea, not just yours. I feel like, Jameson, we're clarifying something that we've never really clarified here. We're saying, yes, you can make the first move. You can go over to the guy, but don't then do 100% of the proactivity. Don't then be the one standing there. Always be the one moving forward. You can actually remove yourself from the situation for a moment. By the way, one of the best things you can do is go have fun over there and then talk to more people, and for them to see you talking to another group of people, because then they're like, oh, they're not just going to wait around for us all night. Just have fun. Be that social butterfly. He's going to see you and think, she's high value. It wasn't all about me. And then he starts questioning himself. Maybe, does she like me as much as I thought? Is she into me? I'm going to find out. I'm going to start being into her and see if she responds. It's important. This is a good video, Jameson. I'm really feeling this one. It's very real. Do you know what I mean? Because you could go out tonight and then you're really using all of this. Have a little push and pull. Don't be all, you know, go in but then pull away a little bit. We need like a metaphor, Jameson. Don't be a leech, be a shark. Be the shark that's circling around. In fact, don't even be a shark, because that's sort of like you're on this mission, this hunt the whole time. Be a dolphin. Dolphins are fun. They're just chillers. You want to have a not so much purpose, like a porpoise. Should we just keep going with puns? Don't be drab. Be a soft shell crab. So like I said, be prepared to have one foot in the interaction and one foot out at the same time, and go between that kind of push and pull effect so that you don't seem like you're too needy and stuck in that interaction. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know many of you have held on this long in the video to see what happened with these two women. Nothing. We left and they went back to their lives and we went back to ours. Not every story has an interesting ending. I'll see you next week. Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Look, I'm on day 2 of my retreat right now. It's the most beautiful thing. I didn't know I was going to make a video right now, but I saw this sky behind me and you've got the beautiful light and I thought, I have to do it. So, as you can see, the pool is below me and I'm here right now on my balcony of the bedroom. I just finished day 2 of the program, so exciting. And I was thinking, what do I want to make a video about for you right now in this spontaneous moment? And I decided the thing that I wanted to do it about is, I watched an interview recently with Donny Osmond where he was talking about his stage fright and going on stage, because he's a guy who suffered from massive stage fright. And I'm on stage for 5 days and almost 50 hours in this particular program that I run, the 5-day retreat. And very often people ask me, do you get scared when you go up there and do this? In the same way that people get scared of, say, approaching someone they're attracted to, they also get scared of going on stage. It's the same thing. And in describing my fear, I say, look, I've never not been afraid. I continue to have nerves all the way through. They haven't gone away for me. Sometimes they get less, because with experience they get less, but ultimately I've always had a sense of nerves before I go on stage. And I was watching this interview with Donny Osmond where he said, I was doing Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat and I was backstage and I was burning down and I didn't know how I was going to get out there on stage. And he said the thing that changed it for me was my wife was there and she said, do yourself and do the audience a favor and go out there and do an average job. And it was such an interesting moment because he said in that moment he went out there and he gave the best performance he'd given in his life. Now why was that? He's got his partner standing there saying go out there and do an average job. Not go and blow them away, because of course that's what creates stage fright in the first place. I have to go out there and be perfect. As soon as you say to yourself, I'm allowed to be average, that's when it all changes, and that's when you're able to actually just go out there and be you, and very often you go and exceed that expectation anyway. So in your life right now, whether it's approaching a guy you like, or if you're watching this and you're a guy and you want to approach a girl you like, or if you have to go on stage, or if you have to do anything that involves that fear, that stage fright, metaphorically, I want you to go out there and just do an average job. Give yourself the freedom to not be your best, and what you'll find is you'll have much less pressure in going out there and doing it. So look guys, this is me from the retreat. Take care. I will try and do a video for you when I get back. Right now I'm in Florida. I'm going back to LA in a few days, so I will make another video for you then. Take care. I can't wait to see you soon. Bye bye.